First of all, welcome everyone this morning to the second day of summer, and actually in the last 24 hours you can see we are 4 seasons in one day. But we're here this morning to make some announcements on the changes in the heat policy for the Australian Open, and I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible because it can be very complicated. But a few things to note for 2015. One, if you have a look around behind us, Margaret Court Arena, a significant amount of more shade for our patrons. One of our objectives each year is to make it as comfortable as possible for both the patrons and the fans. If you go over to courts 7 and 8, you see the new shade structures that are up just on the outside courts. And then one of the big initiatives we announced earlier on was High Sense Arena is going to be open to the public. The grounds pass holders can go and get a seat in the event of inclement weather. With the addition of Margaret Court Arena, we now have 3 stadiums that have retractable roofs, which now give us an opportunity to have play indoors. And when we invoke the heat policy, we'll do it again at the discretion of the referee. He'll look, as was indicated by the Weather Bureau, what the forecast is and make a judgment on that, but use a wet bulb globe reading of 32.5 degrees and an ambient air temperature of 40 degrees. When those two happen, that's when we'll likely be invoking the heat policy, if there's going to be a sustainable period of ongoing heat. Now, we've used that before. We're just going to be more public with what those numbers are. Secondly, when we invoke the heat policy, and this is probably the biggest change, is that play will stop on all outside courts, and once the players or both players reach an even number of games. And then on the courts we can go inside, we'll close the roofs and play will continue. And it's at that point that we will have the heat policy in place. Play will go back out when we feel that the temperatures reach a satisfactory point. And then finally, the third thing we'll do is, to avoid any confusion on the communication, we are introducing a gauge, a heat policy gauge, which will be green, amber, and red, and will indicate to the playing group, particularly when we're in the red zone. That's when we look at putting out the ice vests. It'll be during a time period when we potentially could be evoking the heat policy, but also to provide just a warning system for both the players and the fans. So that's the introduction of the new heat policy, which will, we believe, make it a lot clearer and easier for people to understand.
Well, the forecast for this summer is for slightly higher temperatures for most of the Australian region, and in Melbourne we're expecting a slightly warmer summer, but this should result in about 5 degrees over 30 and perhaps one near 40 for the Australian Open. How we get 40 degrees is if we have a high pressure system in the Tasman Sea and a northerly airstream coming across Melbourne, particularly from the northwest, bringing heat down from the central areas, the desert areas of Australia. And this summer it seems as though there may not be so many northwesterlies. But we've got a very good database here for the tennis, and over the last 7 years we've been studying the weather here, and we can pick up changes within about 3 minutes, and we can estimate or tell what the temperature is at this park here with reasonable accuracy. And the heat wave situation will probably increase in further years, but this summer I don't think there could be one.
Happy days then.
Yes, it'll be a good season for tennis.